Michael Vick at BetUS.com. Catch an incredible 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits, plus 10% gambler's insurance. BetUS, my online sportsbook and casino.
Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? All right, Saints, we're back on the practice field Friday after having a day off on Thursday. And they took the practice field after some news broke earlier in the day. They have cut quarterback Nathan Peterman and signed wide receiver Samson Nacua. The last name sounds familiar. It should. Samson Nacua is the older brother of Puka Nacua, who, of course, splashed onto the scene in the NFL a year ago with the Rams. Samson Nacua went to BYU and has bounced around NFL, was in the spring league this past year with the Michigan Panthers. So in the UFL, uphill climb there, but I think it does speak to a day after the Saints added Marquez Callaway, just how desperate the Saints are at receiver. DA, after practice on Friday, met with reporters. Here were his thoughts on adding Marquez Callaway on Thursday and Samson Nacua on Friday.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that went into it was we're kind of nicked up at the position. I think probably as much as anything, it was about let's get some more legs in here and see what these guys can do. I mean, obviously we've had Callaway, so I think we have an understanding of the type of player he is, and yet there's how does he fit into this scheme? And then Nacua is a bigger, kind of more physical type receiver. Look, a couple of plays caught my eye in terms of just blocking today. So, yeah, I think that's kind of what we're looking at.
It's interesting because I don't think that we necessarily think of like Puka Nacua as a big receiver. At least I didn't. But 6'2", 212, and when you look up Samson Nacua, he's over 6'3", so he's even bigger than his brother. He's the older of the two as well. So Samson Nacua is 26 years old. Puka Nacua is 23. Samson started his career at Utah, transferred to BYU. We know Puka Nacua went to BYU, or excuse me, to Utah, or forgive me, BYU. So anyway, it's going to be hard to get the Nacua straight, especially if Samson makes the team. Long way to go for that. But mostly, I look at the receiver position, and Dennis Allen's right. I mean, you are a little banged up at that spot, but you're also not very good. I mean, you have two guys that you feel really good about. I think we all agree on that. Chris Olave was a 1,000-yard receiver. Last year in year 2, we saw Rashid Shaheed go over 700 yards, and I think it's totally plausible that you have 2,000-yard receivers this year with those two guys. I think that is totally plausible if they're healthy and play a full 17-game schedule. They're both great. But, man, there is a massive drop-off. A year ago we were talking about Michael Thomas, and the thing that was encouraging was, we said it over and over, Michael Thomas didn't need to be 2018 or 2019 Michael Thomas. He just needed to be your number 3 receiver, a guy that could give you 40, 50 catches to be that number 3 target. And he was more than capable of doing that and was on his way to doing that. Just, the story of Michael Thomas's career, he just was injured. But, man, who on this team right now resembles that in any way? I mean, I think we're optimistic about A.T. Perry, but I want to remind you, Dennis Allen has been abundantly clear that A.T. Perry's got a long way to go. Like, this was Dennis Allen in OTAs back in June when he was asked about A.T. Perry.
He's still got a long way to go. That's what we're seeing. We're seeing a guy that's got talent, has shown signs of being a playmaker, and has shown signs of inconsistency.
That was in OTAs. They get to camp. You're hoping that he's making that progression here in camp. This was Dennis Allen a couple of days ago on A.T. Perry.
I'd say he's kind of holding steady right now. I'm kind of waiting to see him, do something that's going to jump up and catch my eye a little bit. Certainly we've seen some other guys, step up and make some plays, some guys that maybe we might not have expected. But I think AT's doing fine. I do think that he's got to, do something to take that next step and make one of those plays that's going to kind of catch our eye a little bit.
Maybe that comes when you finally hit preseason games and he gets those opportunities, because we saw it. We saw it near the end of the season last year for A.T. Perry, actually in games. But the fact that you're still waiting and the door is wide open for somebody to walk through it and put a stranglehold on those reps in that number 3 spot, and nobody's doing it, that's a concern. The fact that we're talking about Mason Tipton, I don't mean that to be any disrespect. Look, there's been a lot of really good receivers that have come here as undrafted free agents and been really good players. Okay, I mean, Lance Moore was an undrafted free agent who played his first year in Cleveland, but then came to New Orleans and has been awesome. I mean, you can look down a long list of Saints receivers that have either been low draft picks or undrafted guys that have become very consistent NFL players. But man, when you've invested the capital you have in draft capital, in receivers, in free agency, and you're not seeing that return, you can kind of hear it in Dennis Allen's voice. Man, like, he knows his job is on the line this year. And think about the conversations he's had. Like, day one, Kendre Miller tweaks his hamstring, and Dennis Allen saying, you want to make the team, you better take care of yourself. That's a second-round player, was a third-round pick. I mean, A.T. Perry, like, he's got to take the step. He is being very transparent, because he understands what they're up against this year. And they just got a lot of guys right now that aren't good enough. So, I mean, if you're trying to tell me that your answer at receiver in a year where your offensive line, your 3/5 of your offensive line is being remade, and you have a new offensive coordinator, we don't know what to expect from Derek Carr. I mean, I do, but some of y'all are still optimistic. And what you hope is to give him weapons to be better. And you're hoping that Samson Nacua or Marquez Callaway or Cedric Wilson is going to end up. I mean, this feels like that scene in Major League where they're sitting there reading the roster at the coffee shop. It's got Mitchell Friedman. I haven't heard of half these guys. That's what this feels like. I mean, I'm not saying it can't work. I mean, they won the division. And the Indians won the division that year. It was great. As a movie, I don't know if this is reality, but I do think it speaks to where you are. If these are your options, and I don't know that you got really great options. I mean, Equanimity St. Brown's never been a productive player. We talked about Cedric Wilson, who last year had 22 catches for 296 in Miami, in that offense in Miami. So, Samson Nacua added by the Saints. We're going to get back to the video here in just a quick second, but this football season, we're thrilled to have a new partner, BetUS. If you're looking for a new book this football season, you got to check out BetUS. They got the fastest payouts in the industry and a 125% sign-up bonus up to $2,000. Where else are you going to find that? Check out the site. It's so easy to use. You go to BetUS, you click Sportsbook right there at the top. Let's say you want to bet on the NFL, of course, because we're talking about the Saints. How about NFL preseason? It's game week for the Saints, Saints against the Cardinals. So easy. You scroll down, you find the game, and you'll see exactly what we're talking about here for the Saints and the Cardinals in week 1. There it is. Saints 1.5-point road dogs. You want them on the money line? How about -110 if you want that 1.5, because you never know. You just log in right there. Bada bing, bada bang, bada boom. You're in. It's BetUS, a 125% sign-up bonus up to $2,000. It's fast. It's easy to deposit and withdraw throughout that process. So if you're looking for a new book this football season, make sure you check out BetUS and check out all of their boosts and bonuses right there on the convenient app. It's BetUS. Thanks for supporting people that support us here on AFR Saints. Now, back to the show. And then they released Nathan Peterman in the corresponding move. So Jake Haener and Spencer Rattler now get all those reps. And having 3 quarterbacks in camp is fine. I actually went back and checked just to make sure there wasn't something I was missing. Last year in the first preseason game against Kansas City, you had Derek Carr, you had Jameis Winston, you had Jake Haener. So those were your 3. Now it's obviously Carr, Haener, and Rattler. And you want to get a really good long look at the 2 young guys to see who's going to win that backup job, so you give them the reps. We all knew Peterman wasn't going to make this team. It was going to be a camp arm situation, only a matter of time. Well, here we are now. By the way, Dennis Allen did give an update on Jake Haener, who last week revealed he had that rare form of skin cancer. Here was DA updating Jake Haener.
I think there's going to be a procedure that's going to take place Monday. And so I think my anticipation as we sit here today would be that he'll probably miss practice on Monday. We have an off day on Tuesday, and I expect him to be back full go on Wednesday.
That would be awesome. I mean, by all accounts, it sounds like they're going to be able to get this taken care of, and it's not life-threatening, as we've heard, which is obviously the best news, far above and beyond football. Specifically, again, to the far less consequential in football, the first preseason game is a week from tomorrow, Saturday the 10th. So if Haener misses Monday, has the off day Tuesday, and is back on Wednesday, in theory, he'd be ready to go for the preseason game at the Cardinals on Saturday. So we'll keep an eye on that. And by the way, Dennis Allen was asked about Jake Haener and the day he had at practice on Friday.
I thought he had a good day today. I really did. I thought there were some good things that I saw out of him, some good throws. You know, sometimes from my perspective, as I'm watching the defense and then I'm watching the offense, and I just want to make sure, you know, sometimes you see some of these plays and, man, they look like really good plays on the outside looking in. And yet what I want to know is, are we going through our progressions? Are we taking what's given to us? Because I think that over the course of time, that's what's going to allow you to be successful consistently. I saw some touchdown passes I saw in the last period, and I throw across the middle, you know, so there were certainly some things that caught my eye in practice in a positive way in terms of the way he operated.
We'll have a much better sense of Haener, Rattler, how that's going a week from Saturday when the Saints take the field for their first preseason game against Arizona. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.